Let's try and do example 19, question A. So you have y equal to sine x minus pi over 2. So this is sine function. So try to write it in this form, which is a sine bx plus c plus d. So note that here in front of sine, this is actually positive 1. And here at the back here, it is plus 0. Here you can see that a is positive 1. B is positive 1 and D is 0. So when you times A with B, so A is 1, B is also 1. Therefore, AB will give you 1, which is positive. So you know that AB is positive. Hence, your graph looks like this. So make sure that your graph is a wave shape since it is sine, and then it goes up first because AB is positive. So we need to find the value of P, which is period, using this formula 2 pi over modulus B. So here B is positive 1, therefore modulus B is 1. And the answer is 2 pi. So what does period, which is equal to 2 pi, means? So note that period is for one full cycle. Okay, one full cycle means that if you try to combine this line of your function here, it should make a full cycle, a full circle. So here this is half, this is a semicircle, and this is another semicircle. So when you combine these two semicircles, that will give you a one full cycle. Okay, so that's what it means by period. So it means that one full cycle here will take 2 pi. So it starts from 0 until 2 pi. For the second step, we need to find the phase shift. So just take bx plus c equal to 0. And you know that it comes from inside the bracket here. So we're going to let x minus pi over 2 equal to 0. And when we solve for x, we will get x equal to pi over 2. We also need to find the interval of one cycle. So just write down bx plus c is between 0 and 2 pi, and it must have this equal sign. And we already know bx plus c is x minus pi over 2. So change bx plus c. So we need to rearrange the middle part here in order to get x only. And to do that, we need to eliminate minus pi over 2. So that means everything here should be add with pi over 2. So 0 plus pi over 2 will give you pi over 2. This one right here, when you add pi over 2, that will give you just x. And then 2 pi plus pi over 2 will give you 5 pi over 2. The third step is to find the minimum and maximum, and you just need to use the formula d plus minus a. So d is 0 and a is 1. So you'll have 0 plus minus 1. So 0 plus 1 is 1 and 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So the smaller value will become your minimum value. The bigger value will become your maximum value. Now let's try and draw our function. So we already know that our graph looks like this, starting from 0, and you know that it's gonna end at 2 pi using the period p. So you're gonna have something like looks like this, starting from 0 until 2 pi. So if this is 0 and this is 2 pi, therefore the middle point will be pi. So that is by using the middle shape here. The basic shape here. Now let's look at phase shift. So phase shift is x equal to pi over 2. So phase shift is the same as horizontal shift. So that means you're going to shift your graph to the left or to the right. So look at the value of your x, which is pi over 2. So this means that originally you have x equal to 0. Now you're gonna shift it so that gonna become x equal to pi over 2. Okay, so the way I like to do it is you start here. This is your graph where you start, which is this one and this one. Okay, so I'm gonna move this graph that starts at 0. So this is x equal to 0. Now you're gonna move this graph so that it's gonna be at x equal to pi over 2. And we know that x equal to pi over 2 is here. So simply move your graph from x equal to 0 to become x equal to pi over 2. Like this. Okay, so this means that you're shifting your graph from here to here. So you're shifting it to the right. So if this graph move, this one will move as well to the right. So let's move it like that. Okay, so this is one full cycle. So how do you check where does it start and where does it end? This will be done by using the interval of one cycle right here. So for one full cycle, it's going to start from pi over 2 until 5 pi over 2. Pi over 2 until 5 pi over 2. So here will be 5 pi over 2. So your graph will not just be one full cycle. This graph will continue to positive infinity and negative infinity. So just continue drawing your graph like that. It doesn't have to be perfect as long as it looks like the correct shape. So this comes from these two parts right here. Now don't forget about the minimum and the maximum value of your y graph. So here you can see that, before we look at the maximum and minimum value, don't forget about the value of d. So d here means you need to shift your graph upwards or downward. So note that d is 0. That means we're not gonna shift our graph. So it stays right here. Next, we can look at the value of minimum and maximum. So you can only plot this minimum and maximum point after you have shift your graph upward or downward. Okay, so this will be your last step. Alright, so you know that the maximum is 1. So that means that the maximum value of your y is always at positive 1. And the minimum point is negative 1. So the minimum value of your y is always negative 1. And then don't forget to label your graph, which is y or fx. Okay, so from here you can try and find the domain. So domain is by looking at your x-axis, and we can see that our graph starts from negative infinity until positive infinity. And for range, we're gonna look at the y-axis. So our graph starts from negative 1 until positive 1. The other way of finding range is just by looking at the minimum and maximum point. So you know that the minimum is negative 1 and the maximum is positive 1. So that's how you write the range, simply by looking at the values of your minimum and maximum.